The one thing you can say about this movie, it does ask and answer one simple question. What would you do to land a movie part? Well, I'm John Renton with the retro view of Curtains from 1983, directed by Richard Shupka. I assume that's how you pronounce it. Don't really know. The name's really goddamn weird. Nevertheless, he directed a 1992 movie called Coyote, not to be confused with 2000's Coyote Ugly, because one, 8-year difference, and there's an extra word added on to the latter title. And also, they're two totally different premises. No, obscenely amounts of hot women in Coyote, but there was in Coyote Ugly. Enough about that. He also did Mysterious Miss C. And this was written by Robert Gaza Not Strip Jr. Boy, that's going to get a lot of goddamn attention if I'm not careful to make fun of the Gaza Strip. Nevertheless, there is no storming of any areas here. He did the story for Prom Night, the 1980 version, not the abysmal 2008 remake. My goodness, that was really, really goddamn bad. Featured one of the guys from That Thing You Do, and also featured one of the absolute worst musical renditions for the intro that I've ever done in the short history of this channel. He also wrote for Santa Barbara and Sunset Beach. Those were two TV shows that ran for a couple years. And this involves 6 actresses. They're trying to land the part of Audra. They're coming to get the part of Audra. And there is a director, John Stryker, played by John Vernon, that is channeling Orson Welles down to everything but the weight. Look at Orson Welles in the last number of years of his life. He became one of the biggest actors in, movie history for a time, one of the most revered directors for Citizen Kane alone, and he did become huge, massive, literally and figuratively. He has a mansion where a bunch of women are going to gather, and also there is an actress named Samantha Sherwood, played by Samantha Eggar. Apparently, Samantha could not remember any name other than her own, and said, "Call me by my name, not call me by your name." That is something totally different. What ends up happening is, in the beginning of this, we see Samantha wanting to get this part of Audra. It turns out that she got the director these rights, and, well, she really wants to play the part, and it's a crazy woman, so she checks herself into a sanitarium, and then he ends up leaving her. Even though she checked herself in, wouldn't you think she'd be able to check herself out? Nope, I guess we really can't worry all that much about that. We see some stand-up from one of the characters, Patty. She really wants to become an actress and everything, and she's doing stand-up and making people laugh and everything. That factors a little bit later into the film. And other actresses will do anything for the part. They gather at this mansion. Stryker's mansion sounds like an offshoot of a Resident Evil set. Resident Evil, the game franchise that started out great with tank controls and then went to goddamn dog shit, revived, and now has gone to dog shit again. And Resident Evil Raccoon City. God damn it, Johannes Roberts, how dare you exist as a director? Let's get back to this. The movie is intentionally or unintentionally dark. I can't really figure out what. I don't know if Peacock or the cock got a bad print, but everything's really, really almost obscenely dark. Now, I understand when to have some mystery, and maybe the film didn't have that big of a budget, so like, shit, we need to disguise the fact that this movie is taking place on only a couple sets, but it was a bit weird. It wasn't even maddening, it was more just annoying. Like, okay, I can't see, and I thought it was just my TV. No, same on my phone, same on Peacock on the computer. Didn't matter. Didn't matter what device. Even asked a few other people. I said, hey, can you click on this movie and see if it's really dark? And apparently that's just how the directors wanted to go with it. Also, the camera work is not very good. It's also all kind of weird and zoomy and everything. And I guess it's supposed to capture the madness of some of these people. The problem is none of the acting is particularly good. The writing is kind of absolutely shit. And this movie attempts to have some twist, but unlike another 1983 movie, Sleepaway Camp, it doesn't handle its twist well. Oh my god, she's a boy. I don't know why they made the killer sound like Frankenstein, but nevertheless. What ends up happening is Samantha's in the sanitarium, and Stryker is bringing all these women to his mansion. And while it's just, normal weather, raining or whatever, there's no real bad weather, just maybe some rain and maybe some day for night shots that are really, really badly done. Like one point where this girl, or one of the actresses, gets out of her car and finds a doll in the road, and this doll grabs her or doesn't grab her. Somebody gets in the car and runs her over. Who was it? We find out later, or we don't. Stuff just happens in this movie. The 6 meet there. Some say they kill for the part, others say they fuck for it. Oh, I'd go down on him, and that's something that Patty said. Not all of you will make it after the next 2 days. I have something the striker says. It's like he almost planned this out, and then it went totally tits up. The thing is there's an interesting concept here. What would you do to land the ultimate movie part? Samantha then shows up, despite the fact that earlier she said she was going to exact and act revenge for what happened being left at the sanitarium and her friend freed her. Yet she's able to just walk around this house freely, knowing the people could just call the cops at any point and bring her back. Stryker says he could he could take care of her. He could put her, right back in the sanitarium if he wants, unless she plays ball. And then there's this weird mass killer running around. The only good scene in this entire thing, and it was in the snow. Here's another thing I didn't understand about the movie. Unless they're up in the high mountains, like in the frickin' French Alps, how did it go from not snowing at this gas station or not snowing anywhere to suddenly having 3 feet of snow on the goddamn ground to the point this lake is frozen? Looks like it's been frozen for about 50,000 years. A girl is just doing ice skating and then suddenly gets killed by somebody in the weird melted man's wife's mask. That's literally what it looks like. And also this one girl that was going to go up for the part, ends up getting killed when she thinks it's her boyfriend trying to fulfill their R fantasy. No, really, some people have that, and I don't understand what the hell is wrong with you. I'm not here to kink shame, except in this case. But then she gets killed. And then the lady that was ice skating finds a doll in the goddamn thing. What's the deal with the doll? I don't know. She ends up knocking the person down, running in the snow on her ice skates instead of taking them off, which I don't really understand. You could have kicked the person with your skate and killed them, but you didn't. And then she gets trapped against a tree and gets her head taken off. And other people end up dying. The story just totally goes off the goddamn rails at this point. There isn't really much of a story. I don't know why, and I don't know what was happening at some points in this movie. There was a head in the toilet. Man, I gotta hit the head. Oh, there's an actual head in here. Well, I guess I know what I shouldn't eat for lunch next time. Well, you'd lose your head if it wasn't attached. And everybody just keeps doing what they're doing. People keep getting offed in weird ways. And then at one point, this girl's just wandering around on a movie set, seemingly. It's a big mansion, so there's something in the basement going on. There's these weird movie set things. She knocks the killer down, but then hides in the vent, then ends up getting killed. So who is actually the killer? Well, there's Samantha and there's Patty left. Also, somebody got shot and fell out the window. That must have been Stryker. It's got to be Stryker, or Stryker got killed off camera. It's really hard to tell, actually, what's going on with this movie because it's so dark and so weird. They cut it away. They're like, yeah, you won't be able to tell what's happening or if anything good's happening because we're just going to continue to make the camera work really goddamn bad. This movie is not that good. I'm only retro-viewing it for Horror Movie Month to just find offshoot stuff and stuff that people might not remember. Does anybody remember this movie? I've never actually seen it. And there are dead bodies hanging everywhere. More people get killed. Again, it's down to Patty and Samantha. They talk about the part of Audra and what would you do for it. Oh, she would have broken the champagne. They're drinking champagne. Weird champagne glasses that were like about this thin and barely grow up and everything. So you literally could have had just a regular champagne glass. Instead, you had one that went almost down to how would you craft that goddamn thing? How much could you get in there? It's like having a little beaker. Me. And then it turns out it was Patty. Because that stand-up she was doing earlier, she actually was part of the sanitarium as well. And she's there and has killed people. Or she ended up in the sanitarium after killing people. It's really hard to tell. It's really hard to care. It just ends up being a goddamn catastrophe. She also ends up killing Samantha. There's really nobody worth rooting for here. I don't know what the point of this movie was. Watch Sleepaway Camp instead. It's not great, but it packs a whopper of an ending. Just don't watch the sequels. Seriously, just forget the sequels exist, especially number 2 and number 3 being filmed back to back, and number 4 being in developmental hell. Don't watch Curtains, or do, and then tell me if you thought it was as shit as I thought. Yeah, nevertheless, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.